We're back.
Surprise!
Just a small pause in the regularly scheduled programming.
Life comes at you. Have to take a pause, regroup, come back at it again.
A couple of really positive changes have happened, but of course we have not posted for a few weeks. And just when we were trying to commit to post all the time,
Life happens.
What they say, tell God your plans and watch him laugh or something like that. That's what's happened. So here's a quick overview of the disc that we're going to be talking about. Old school, right? So if you think about where you're at, top and bottom only, outgoing and reserved. Then if you forget about that and go left and right, task and people. So we're talking about the DISC and how these different personalities are. And when you talk about change, woohoo, they are different. And so is Cj and Hman. I mean, everybody has their nuances, and of course we all know that. But over our 25 years of marriage, careers have come and gone, and the way we approach finding a new job,
very different,
and a lot of problems over the years over that.
I'm the slow turtle.
Yes. Yeah. So we have these some writing and some charts about the 4 different quadrants. And I thought 2 things were really interesting. So pardon me for reading for a minute, but why don't you point to what I'm going to read about. So the D's, which are outgoing and task oriented, their basic motivation, what they need out of life, challenge, choices, and control. What the I's need, which are outgoing and people, recognition, approval, and popularity. What the S's need, which are reserved and people, security, appreciation, and assurance. And the C's, which are task and reserved, quality answers, excellence, and value. So if you think about how vastly different those are, I think sometimes you can be in a conversation and hear those. Like a C will say, well, you didn't really answer the question. You know, they're wanting a quality answer. And we get into that sometimes where I'm talking this checklist or the to-do list and he'll whip off something and I'm like, oh. No, I would never be that way.
No. But we know how to take it. That's the main thing. It's like, oh, okay. And she'll reiterate again. It's like, okay, give me a minute and then I'll answer.
And do you find that at work, those where people are looking for choices or, give me another way to do this, or, did I do that right? They're looking for some approval. I don't know recognition necessarily, but that gets into the 5 love languages about words of affirmation and so forth. But I think what's interesting also on this list, and we'll talk about in future videos, is how a letter, which Hman is massive amounts of S, where when one of these gets out of control, you act like a crazy person, no matter what letter you are. And we have those words of how each letter acts out of control, and sometimes that explains a lot. What have you thought about out of control, how these have helped?
For me, being a high S, and a little bit of I in there. When somebody's out of control, I do kind of pull back and listen to them, and I try to figure out where they're coming from, if you will, and maybe my responses or my actions toward them. I find out sometimes that can be, if you will, a trigger for it. And
Yeah.
you know, after a while, you do pay attention to what's going on. And when you approach them too, you think about that, how to approach, how to ask or tell or show, so they can understand or learn, or whichever phase that you're in at that time.
I'm remembering when we were talking about something, and I would be like, and he would just shut down. Like we've talked about in a past video about how I'd be like, why aren't you talking this through? But my tone made him feel like he was being attacked. So he just shut down, regardless of what we were trying to discuss or a situation or anything.
But in learning this over time, if I start feeling that way, I'll say, give me a minute. Sometimes I say, I need to walk away, let me think about this, and then come back to it. And then try to, if you will, proper term, regurgitate what she said back, and then get on the same page.
And I remember often saying to him, I love you, I'm not ever attacking you, so if it feels that way, call me out on it, because I'm being tasked. Task is not attacking. Lord have mercy. I know that. He still does not know that. 23 years and clucking that bad boy.
It's getting better all the time.
But like that very same dynamic changes the exact same way. D's love choices or change. I think that kind of goes together with that. S's do not. I think people's love or hate of change is universal. It can be any letter. I feel that way.
I know I'm a little slow and methodical about change. Look at it, plan it out, rethink it, replan it.
And it's kind of like that out of control element. When things are going bad at his work, he kind of shuts down. And I'm like, why aren't you looking for a new job? And he's like, I'm like,
Thinking it through sometimes.
Lord have mercy. So we're happy to share that I actually got on LinkedIn. It actually was Indeed, and was, kind of doom scrolling jobs for him. And we found a great one. And luckily it was kind of a quick response, human person. So it wasn't that whole apply and never hear again, which is what he's dreaded over the past, and what some of the reluctance was because of the process. But
you hit a lot of AI, and you hit we'll get back with you, or you have to go through certain steps and everything to go through it. But this job of listening to it and reading what she had put out and looking at it and investigating it came out very much like an old job that I had before we moved here with another company in outside sales. And it was more a lot of networking, mentoring, and listening to people, what they wanted, and not telling them what they want, but showing them what the options are.
Educational
sales, if you will. And that's what I like, because the high pressure stuff is...
And I will say, I shot in 5, and this was the one that he liked. So, we're not great batting average, but we did it.
Hey, 250.
And God is good. God is always good. And I don't know that the timing would have been right until now. But thus our delay on videos, but even more content for the disc and how you handle things. We've been... since we've been talking to you, we've talked even more about disc than we have in years. And it's been a great tool to say, how are we different on this?
Yeah.
Because I would not really consider myself outgoing, I do have some of it, but not a lot. But yet I'm the one that will talk to strangers on the plane and make friends.
Yeah. I'll sit next to them. If they engage me first, then yes, then I will. But if not, I'm just
I'm
sitting
like,
in and
hey,
check.
where are you from? You know, I know we've talked before. That's my dad. That's my dad, as well as wanting to make people feel comfortable. But we both network in different ways, and it's always interesting to the nuances, to pull apart the nuances. I wanted to also say that if change is difficult for you in your partner or relationships, think about the disc and see how that kind of goes about it, because it's also pace.
Yes.
I hadn't really thought about that till now, where he's like, when I'll get to it, I get to it, and I'm like,
let's go.
come on,
Get on
do
the bus.
something. Yeah, that's probably more of it than quite a bit of the other things.
For me too, I'm looking at it, I'm digesting it, I'm thinking about the processes that they have, what they're talking about, how it would go about, how my day might be. So I'm thinking this through as it would go through a day or the week that I'd be out doing this job. So I'll, pick up the anchor a little bit sometimes and drag it along, but I still get there. And that's the main thing. Be comfortable where you're at. I feel like I'm with a great team. I have a very
Which
good.
means a ton to an S.
It really does.
Huge.
It's one of those where everybody in our chat area, the newer and the older salespeople that are there, are throwing out ideas and encouragement, and it is a team environment. Everybody is different. Everybody has their strong points, so we listen to that, and then you figure out, it's a little bit out of a stretch for me. Here is my sweet zone, and this is where I'm going to stay. But you also look for other channels that you have that you can perfect and get better at.
Another change that's happened kind of on my side of things is I came to YouTube via another passion, which are my love of small towns. And it's proven to be a crazy niche because of not a lot of people search for small towns. So I've tried to figure out really what the content is around that. And a couple of weeks ago, was able to connect with a contact and put myself in an accountability situation. So we're both being pulled different ways. Small Town Connections, by the way, is that channel. And so yeah, we're gonna come to you in different formats. We hoped to do the series and make it all tight and buttoned up and beautiful, but it's so not gonna happen.
Well, the nice thing is too on that, you can see our personalities in it, because I do a lot of the history for that. So I ask questions and I investigate and I get things out, and she's the outgoing. She'll do the interviews, and I'll be behind the scenes taking care of things, setting it up, and having that. So we have this wonderful partnership on that. Oh, we do.
Wonderful partners.
Wonderful partners.
That's us.
That's right.
Ussens, as we call it.
Letter.
Know your people.
Gotta wonder 25.